Hello guys, my name is Carlos and I'm Spanish as a foreign language teacher. In this series of videos, we're going to analyze some celebrities who speak Spanish. On this first episode, we have Gwyneth Paltrow, which is an actress in Iron Man. She was interviewed in Spanish some years ago, and we will analyze everything she does well, grammatically and culturally, and also point the mistakes that need to be improved. Now, this interview is interesting because before they go into the movie-related questions, the interviewer asks Gwyneth about her journey learning Spanish, and that's what we're going to listen to. Let's go.
Estoy con Gwyneth Paltrow, una gran actriz ganadora de un Oscar, de un Globo de Oro, cualquier premio, esta mujer lo tiene. Qué rico estar contigo, qué elegancia.
Gracias.
Y es impresionante escucharte hablar español. Háblame dónde lo aprendiste y por qué te entusiasmó aprender español.
Bueno, cuando tenía 15 años yo estaba estudiando español en el colegio en Nueva York y la profesora nos han dicho, bueno, hay una oportunidad a ir a España a estudiar ahí. Entonces yo hacía un intercambio y vivía con una familia en el centro de España, cerca de Toledo.
I'd like to highlight the fact that from the very first gracias she says, it gives us teachers a lot of information. First of all, the accent. It's a very clear central Spanish accent, the one she has. She did mention that she lived in Toledo, which is close to Madrid, and it shows on the way she speaks. Having said that, it's not only the accent actually that she masters, which is quite remarkable, it's also the intonation. Now, I always tell my students and I always remind them the importance of intonation. When you start your Spanish learning journey, you have to focus on pronunciation, which is, the syllables, the vowels, the combination of vowels. But once you have a good grasp on this topic, now you can work on your intonation, which is basically the music of the language, which Gwyneth actually masters quite well. To give you an example with Gwyneth, when the interviewer compliments her about her outfit, she says gracias, but let's listen.
Gracias.
So that gracias, that intonation she gives to that gracias, it's quite interesting because as a native speaker, we understand that she's thanking us, but in a very humble way. In Spanish, intonation is extremely important because it gives us extra information of what you're trying to express. And she does it really well. In terms of grammar, let's analyze.
Y es impresionante escucharte hablar español. Háblame dónde lo aprendiste y por qué te entusiasmó aprender español.
Bueno, cuando tenía 15 años yo estaba estudiando español en el colegio en Nueva York y la profesora nos han dicho, bueno.
This is a very common mistake. La profesora nos han dicho. It should have been la profesora nos ha dicho. The reason why a lot of students actually they tend to say la profesora nos han dicho because that an, that auxiliary, they link it to the indirect object pronoun, which is the nos, but it should be linked to the original subject, which is la profesora. So, la profesora nos ha dicho. La profesora ha dicho a nosotros. It's a tiny mistake, but it's quite common.
Hay una oportunidad a ir a España a estudiar ahí, entonces yo.
Another common mistake, hay una oportunidad a ir a España a estudiar ahí. Now this is a preposition issue. She should have used the preposition para. Hay una oportunidad para ir a España, para estudiar ahí. Remember, the preposition para expresses objective or purpose of something. When it comes to structure, which was the issue here, para goes with an infinitive verb. Para ir, para estudiar. And that's it. So remember, when you use an infinitive verb as an objective or purpose, you would need the preposition para.
Hacía un intercambio y vivía con una familia en el centro de España, cerca de Toledo. Y me encantó y fue como una temporada en mi vida muy importante. Me encanta España, la cultura latina. Siempre me voy a México, por ejemplo. Me gusta mucho la cultura, la lengua, la gente.
This part I really like because it shows a very relaxed and a very good mastering of the contrast between imperfect and preterite. When she's saying y vivía con una familia, and I used to live with a family in Toledo, but then she has this contrast and then she said me encantó. I loved it. A very well used of the imperfect because she's describing the past and she's describing an event in the past that took a while. But then she has that contrast with preterite and I loved it. Y me encantó. Remember when we use verbs of feelings such as encantar, amar, gustar, because it's a momentaneous feeling, we tend to use preterite. Me encantó, me gustó, amé, etc. Let's see what else.
En la escuela, con la gente, ningún amigo en especial, amiga, nunca.
Yo tengo una amiga en Londres que es de Mallorca, se llama Rosario y con ella hablo, practicamos, bueno, yo practico con ella. Y también tenemos una niñera de España en casa para que mis niños pueden aprender también. Entonces, siempre estamos hablando en español y yo creo que es muy importante. Yo tengo una amiga que hablaba como 5 lenguas o así y ella...
Right, guys, I think it's also very important to say how relaxed she looks and how that helps to transmit your message. You do see that actually she's very comfortable speaking Spanish, and I'm sure we also have to take in consideration the fact that she's an actress and she knows how to communicate, of course, effectively. Having said that, it's still very remarkable to see how well she expresses herself and how confident she looks.
Canta España, la cultura latina, siempre me voy a México, por ejemplo.
Siempre me voy a México. Right. She should have said siempre voy a México. Now the difference between ir and irse, it's to express when you are leaving a place. Me voy de mi casa, I am leaving my house. Me voy de Londres, I am leaving London. But when you only use the verb ir, it expresses direction. Voy a México. I am going to Mexico. Let's continue.
Me gusta mucho la cultura, la lengua, la gente.
Así que lo aprendiste en la escuela, con la gente, ningún amigo en especial, amiga, nunca.
Yo tengo una amiga en Londres que es de Mallorca, se llama Rosario y con ella hablo, practicamos, bueno, yo practico con ella. Y también tenemos una niñera de España en casa para que mis niños pueden aprender también. Entonces,
right. Another little mistake. Para que mis niños pueden también aprender español. Do you guys recognize that mistake? That is the famous subjunctive. It should have been para que mis hijos puedan también aprender. So this is one of the basic structures of the subjunctive. ¿Para qué? Para que yo pueda. Para que mis hijos puedan. We don't know if the children are going to learn it, so as it is something uncertain, we are going to use the subjunctive. Let's move on.
Siempre estamos hablando en español y yo creo que es muy importante. Yo tengo una amiga que hablaba como 5 lenguas o así y ella me decía, una lengua, una vida. Y yo creo que es verdad, cuando puedes hablar más de un idioma, puedes entender muchísimo más y...
That's really beautiful, that this expression like una lengua, una vida, one language, one life. I think it was Charlemagne in France who said that speaking another language is like possessing another soul. So that's basically what she's saying, like every time you express yourself in another language, it's not just the code that you use in order to communicate. Language is always very connected to culture. Something also that she did very well here is the use of the word idioma as masculine. Un idioma. Let's listen.
Y yo creo que es verdad, cuando puedes hablar más de un idioma, puedes...
So as you can see, un idioma, using that idioma, even if it ends in a, it is a masculine word, and she uses the indefinite article un. un idioma. That's really good. We do know that most of the words ending in a are feminine and o are masculine. But we have exceptions, such as idioma, which she used, problema, el problema, día, el día, etc. Let's see what else she says.
Entender muchísimo más y yo creo que es una experiencia profundo para hablar más de una idioma.
Right, so she said, es una experiencia profundo. So do you see the mistake?
Experiencia profundo para hablar más de una idioma.
She should have said, es una experiencia profunda. Remember, adjectives in Spanish, they have to be accorded to the gender and number of the nouns. I have to say that I'm very impressed by Gwyneth Paltrow's Spanish. I can observe that she's very, very linked and connected to Spanish culture because of the intonation and also because she's quite relaxed when she speaks about it. She's quite confident, and that is something that you can see when someone is speaking a language. Now, the reason of these little mistakes that she's making is because probably nobody is correcting her. When we achieve a certain level and we're very comfortable and we know that we can communicate, well, we just keep dragging sometimes certain mistakes. It's quite normal. If you want to polish these details, it just requires a little bit more of effort from you. You know, to really know what are the mistakes you're making and asking people to correct you every time they hear something that needs to be improved. Please don't forget to subscribe if you liked this content. I will be uploading more in the future. If you have any comments or questions about something in particular, please share them below in the comments. Maybe you can even tell me about any other celebrity you would like to see a video about. As well, if you have any friends learning Spanish, please share this content so they can use it in the learning journey. Thank you very much, muchas gracias, and see you next time. Happy learning. Bye.